Kylie Butler is the CEO of Arrow Leadership. The focus of her organization is to develop transformational leaders who are capable of engaging their local context to bring about renewal and transformation. I'm Ian Bunston. Welcome to Monday Matters. Good morning, Kylie. Great to have a chat with you this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ian. It's so great to be with you this morning.
Our absolute pleasure. Kylie, firstly, I'd like to ask you, what's a transformational leader and how does Arrow train and prepare these types of leaders?
Yeah, it's such a great question, Ian. How we or I kind of see transformational leadership is, it's someone who brings positive change. So not just to the task or organization, but also to the people around them. They're leaders who actually create healthy cultures, stronger teams, more purpose-driven organizations. And so at Arrow, we believe that that actually starts from the inside out. So we don't just focus on skills or strategy or those outward things, but actually on who the leader is becoming. So their values, their resilience, their integrity, and how they present themselves in all moments, but often in difficult moments. They're kind of those tough moments where kind of the real comes out often. And so a lot of our programs at Arrow actually combine leadership development with personal formation. And so we utilize things like coaching and mentoring, peer learning, as well as kind of the real world challenges and skills to kind of help leaders develop their confidence and their character. And so we work with leaders from churches, not-for-profit, schools, businesses, being able to kind of teach some of those principles. And so our beginning is in and where we come from is Christian leadership, but we actually teach principles that are much more widely and broadly known, including emotional intelligence, courageous conversations, leading through change, making really good decisions, things like that.
Hmm. So, Kylie, one of the big missions of Monday Matters is to celebrate the benefits of community connections. And so, tying this in with our discussion this morning and your training your leaders, how do they engage the community so the organization that they're representing is more connected to those around them?
Yeah, and because we kind of pull leaders away, so they do our kind of flagship programs, we pull leaders away for 12 months in order to be able to kind of send them back in. So we don't have direct connection with the community, but leaders who work within the different communities they're a part of. So as I think around this question, I think it starts with listening. So leaders can't bring meaningful change if they don't understand, know, hear, and connected to the community which they serve in. And so we train leaders to be curious and responsive to kind of help them to think and move beyond assumptions and take time to kind of understand the real needs and hopes of the people around them, in the immediate community that they work in, the organization, but also the broader community that they are a part of. So whether that's a principal that's leading a school, a pastor that's leading a church, or a CEO that's leading a charity, the goal is still the same. How do they build trust? How do they foster collaboration and establish connections within that broader community? So then, as we link back to kind of the first question, thinking around transformational leadership, it's questions like, how can we serve people better? What are the barriers that we can help remove? How do we invite people into different conversations? And so when leaders do that well, organizations become more agile, more authentic, and more impactful. And so I think that's some of the thoughts I have around that one.
No, it's wonderful, and now you've really touched on this a little bit already, then, which is great. So the key social issues. What do you see as those key social issues around communities? So perhaps that impacts the type of leadership that you're providing, because we have to be aware of the things that are going on around
Yeah.
us and be able to think intelligently. And then how do we then have inroads into supporting people who do have those issues?
Yeah. There's probably a few around at the moment, but one of the most significant issues that I'm currently seeing in leadership is particularly burnout. I think it's there, but I think it's a post-COVID piece as well, particularly among leaders and kind of even the caregivers. People are stretched thin and kind of many are asking, how do I lead well without burning out, so a lot of leaders are asking around wellness, health, balance. There's also a lot of uncertainty. So whether that's economic pressure, cultural change, or shifts in the different landscape that we're a part of. There's shifts in trust in institutions. There's things that are changing and moving so rapidly. I mean, if we think of, something like AI, which most of us didn't even know existed sort of 2 years ago. And so we're seeing that leaders need to be more adaptable, more self-aware, more courageous, more kind of on the ball with things. Thirdly, I think there's also in many communities loneliness, disconnection, and mental health are rising concerns. And so leaders need to lead more relationally, being more present, more people focused than ever. And so a lot of what we're doing is how do we shape leaders with some of these challenges in mind, helping them themselves to be able to build resilience and lead with clarity within really complex situations. How do they become agile, navigate change? And also, how do they foster that sense of belonging, creating a space where leaders don't have to have all the answers, but they can reflect and grow and then be able to outwork their leadership within the communities that they're a part of. So just a just a couple of challenges that come to mind as I think about that.
No, that's wonderful. It really is. And we're just going a tiny bit off script here, but I'm thinking
Mm.
of you as you're expressing all those ideas and thoughts that you're a leader that's helping to train leaders to then connect with the community and
Yeah.
have an impact on. What do you do yourself in terms of your sense of well-being, self-care, and keeping yourself informed of the things that are going on in the world so that you can impart and encourage these future leaders?
Yeah. So personally for myself, obviously as a Christian leader, so my quiet space time in the morning, reading, reflecting, journaling, writing is really important for me on a daily basis, as well as regular exercise, which I know I should be doing more of. I also take regular time out. So I have a day, at least a day a quarter away from the tools. So away from laptops, away from phones, just to kind of, step back, step up, step out. And then I also have a number of people because obviously you're hearing a lot of stuff, where do I go? So I have a coach, a counselor, and a professional supervisor. I don't meet them all like every week, all the time. There are different things that I pull in and out depending on the circumstances of what I might need at that time. But I have them on regular cycle to be able to just sometimes talk things out. So there's some things as a leader you can't say to your team or you can't say more publicly, but where is a safe, confidential space that you can kind of process and talk things out in that way. So there's, yeah, a couple of things that I do, as well as try to not work on weekends as much as I can. Try and hold some boundaries to that time.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of healthy, supportive structures around
Yeah.
your lifestyle and what you're doing. So it makes you the better person then to be supporting others, which is really, really good indeed.
Hopes. Yeah, I'm not far from getting it right or perfect in any way, shape, or form. I just try and lean in as I can.
Yes. Kylie, finally, there may be people listening today to what you have got to say and never consider themselves as a leader. How does someone actually kind of know whether they're potentially a leader or not, do you think?
Yeah, this was such a good question to think around because often we think, and I wonder if this is a Western view, but often we think leadership is a title or leaders are the loudest voice or the biggest personalities in the room. But actually, I think leadership is around influence, and everyone has influence somewhere. So if you find yourself caring about something deeply or wanting to make a difference, that's a sign of leadership potential. Also, if people kind of naturally look to you, or you've ever thought there's a better way to do this, then I think that's a little spark of leadership too. Um, in leadership, you don't have to be confident or polished or perfect to begin. I think what actually matters most is a willingness, a willingness to grow, to serve, and to kind of lead from who you are and where you are. Um, at Arrow, we often say you don't need to have it all together to be a leader. You just kind of need to be willing to take the next step, whatever that is. And so I would say leadership is influence, and we all have influence in different spheres in the context that we find ourselves in.
Mm. Well, Kylie Butler, the CEO of Arrow Leadership, it's been great to have a chat with you this morning, and we wish you well on your endeavours as you're developing and training and preparing folk for leadership in the future in our communities. We do need good leaders. We do
We
need
do.
folk who have got a genuine heart to really care for folk and bring about change that's going to improve and be a benefit for everyone. And it's been insightful hearing your thoughts this morning. So thank you for being our guest at Monday Matters today.
My absolute pleasure, Ian. Thanks for having me.